Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. First up, we have offensive lineman Hubbard. Questions for Jaquay, Greg?
So, Jaquay, to start, give me the assessment of the offensive line overall, good, bad. How do you think you guys have done this year?
Yeah, overall this year, I think we've done pretty well. There's some things that I say we could probably clean up communication-wise that we really got better at throughout the season, and we'll continue to get better at. But we've been together for a long time, playing off each other. We know each other's strengths and weaknesses. Just an every week battle, just keep continuing to, do our job and try to lead this team as best as we can.
Struggle, is it the communication you mentioned? What is it that when you do struggle is the problem?
Yeah, if we do struggle, it's most likely communication, getting a hat on the hat, which I mentioned. We've improved a lot since Penn State to now. So it's just like I mentioned, everyday battle, just keep getting better and better, repetitions, getting great looks from the scout teams and whatnot.
You mentioned leadership. What is the mood right now, and how are those leaders kind of trying to pick people up?
Yeah, the mood right now is we got to go get a win. Pretty simple. No one's happy where we're at right now, but a lot of positive vibes still in the locker room. We love each other. We work hard day in and day out, 11 months throughout the year. So, if one opportunity doesn't go our way, we're not just gonna tuck our tails. We love each other way too much. So yeah, the energy's good. We're just looking to get a win and kind of get the last two games behind us.
How do you keep it from getting away from you to kind of stay focused and not dwell too much on those last two games?
Yeah, I would say just looking in the mirror, seeing what went wrong, what went good, continuing what we did good on and what we did bad on, really harp on it, look in the mirror and try to fix it. Leadership's huge right now. We have a lot of great leaders. Every position room has, at least one leader that the whole team can look up to. So really just lean on the older guys and take the challenge ahead. There's 5-game stretch, very winnable games. We just got to put our head down and execute.
Who are those guys in your room?
I'm sorry?
Who are those guys in your position?
Yeah, I would say the whole starting five. Starting out with Wyatt. He's the best tackle in the country. He's a great job with communicating and leading others. You got Tomas, who he may not be as vocal, but he's the guy who he does everything by example. And as a young guy, you have to follow that. Brandon Yates does a great job. I mean, he's a center, so he has to communicate. But from a leader standpoint, he does a tremendous job. Myself, I try to look at myself as a leader and what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong. And then lastly, Malone. He stepped into a big leader role this year. And so all 5 of us kind of have that role and have to piggyback off each other in times like this.
And all you guys in that room, I mean, there's so many 3rd and 4th and 5th year guys around, and you may not have all been starters forever, but you've all played together. You've been together forever. How much has that really helped you kind of through ups and downs to kind of, right things that need righted and stay together when things go astray?
Yeah, it means a lot. As I mentioned kind of my opening statement, it's, we all play off each other. The chemistry is there. We know each other's strengths and weaknesses. So to be able to have those reps under our belt with everyone beside us, even if the lineup would shift, if injury or whatnot, Coach Moore does a great job in fall and spring with putting us in situations with playing with people beside each other who we may not have the most reps with next to. But when you get in those pressure situations, you should feel comfortable next to your brother.
What was different, or was there anything different about not having Wyatt in the second half against Kansas State compared to, earlier in the season when you didn't have him for periods of time as well? I mean, were you able to draw off anything?
Yeah,
In particular?
Yeah, great question. I mean, like I mentioned, he's the best tackle in the nation. So when he's not on the field, obviously you're losing some production. But I'm very proud of Johnny Williams. He prepares every day as if he would be the starter. And as you guys can see, when he gets his opportunity, he's holding his ground. But yeah, you miss a guy like Wyatt. It's inevitable. He's amazing at what he does. He works really hard. But it's a next man up type business. And yeah, we have full faith in Johnny whenever he's on the field. He doesn't want to let us down, and we don't want to let him down. So that kind of helps the whole progress.
From your perspective, Neil mentioned after the game against Kansas State that the defenses were kind of doing some things that kept you from getting to the second level to get some of your things. I guess they copycatted off of Iowa State. From your perspective, what was happening there that just kind of stopped the run game a little bit? What were they doing?
Kansas State is a great team. Iowa State, great team, great run defense. But majority of the times, 9 times out of 10, if it's not executing, it's probably on us. Maybe a communication. Maybe when they do go to a different front, adjusting with the call to help our angles. Offensive line play is all about angles first and foremost. So really just getting in those situations and kind of adjusting. Maybe sometimes they would like to play 2-3 techniques to stop us from climbing to the second level, try to pick the guard's hip. Sometimes that can make it rather difficult. You got to stay square so you can defeat that side pressure and get up to the second level. So there may be a few examples of that within the last few weeks, but nothing we can't handle or we shouldn't handle. We just got to execute. If we see that type of front, there's certain things that we can do to kind of keep our angles where we want them for a positive run.
Go ahead.
Halfway through the season, you go into the season, you're undefeated, you fire up and everything. You get to this point where maybe the schedule more than anything else got you, but how do you reassess? What do you reassess, and how do you rebuild up your ego, shall we say? Or that you live on ego, pretty much.
Yeah, great question. I would say first and foremost, it's looking in the mirror to a man, and really, judging yourself and not being biased. What did I do well? What did I do wrong? How am I helping the team? How am I hurting the team? I think every man doing that individually would really help, kind of accelerate the process that we're looking for. So just being accountable, just looking at things you got to work on, and it's a team game. As Coach Brown mentioned, the run game, isn't just O-line, it's all 11. Run defense isn't just the D-line, it's, safeties get involved, corners involved. So it's just a team sport, looking in the mirror and seeing what you can adjust.
You mentioned in the past about the phrase energy vampires and things like that with the past culture, because you've been here a while. Does the fact that what you're saying when Neil talked about the character, the fact that there are not any energy vampires around anymore, does that help provide you confidence, or how does that provide you confidence in comparison when you're dealing with adversity years ago?
Yeah, that helps a lot, because situations like this, clearly we're not where we want to be. We feel like we are way more talented than our record, and we know we are. So yeah, not having those vampires is everything, because in times like this, you need positive energy. You need the glasses half full type guys, and it makes it really easier to get the things like this turned around, which we will. We just got out of practice, and we already put Kansas State behind us, and we're on to Arizona, looking to go across the country and get a win, another tough opponent.
Garrett can't go and Nico goes. What's Nico bring to the table, in your opinion?
Nico, he's a competitor first and foremost. He doesn't want to let his guys down. He loves the game. He gets mental reps every time Garrett, is either in the game or in practice. I have a really good relationship with Nico off the field. He knows his strengths, he knows his weaknesses. He just wants to get better every day. Whoever's back there in the middle of the huddle will have our command, and we'll go out there and we'll compete our tails off. And Nico, he could sling the ball, he could run it. They're different players, but they have a lot of similarities.
Neil has said in the last couple of times, after Oklahoma State, hey, because we have Gary and Nico, we have two guys we think we can win in Big 12 with, and we don't have to change what we do. How advantageous is that as an offensive line, that when a new guy comes in, it's not we got to really switch up what we have to do, but you can just keep doing what we do because the new guy can handle what the starter's already been able to do.
Yeah, that's huge. It allows you to keep kind of your fundamentals, keep your mic IDs, keep your bread and butter plays that you've ran since spring. Now, there may be some slight adjustment. Nico's left-handed, Garrett's right, but you don't really read too much into that because we run plays. We have right and left calls for both plays, so the repetition should be fine. definitely makes our job easier that Nico can, still run. We can still do RPOs and whatnot. So it keeps the game plan fairly simple.
To that end, what do you think created the difficulty for Nico to be able to get through the lane and be able to actually run and get rushing yards when in comparison to Green, who was able to get some chunks in that Kansas State game, aside from just maybe a speed difference?
Yeah, I would just say repetition. Just as Nico went on, he did a tremendous job. Just just getting his feet wet, just getting ready to the flow of the game. He'll have more reps throughout this week or whatnot. So, full confident that Nico will go in and handle the job. He's from Arizona, so I'm sure he'll be fired up for this week. Like I said, we believe in him, he believes in us, and we got Nico's back.
When you address the team on the field, in the stadium on game days, do you practice that? Do you have certain points you want to hit, or do you just wing it?
Yeah, I just wing it, kind of just wherever we're at. Some of you guys are in the huddle and you hear us. I just try to, I don't really call it a pregame speech or nothing like that. I just try to address us where we are and you just get in touch with reality before we go to battle with my brothers. That, it is right now we're in a back against the wall type mentality. When I get in situations like this personally, I get excited. I told the guys, we've all been through, so many tough things in our life outside of football, whether that's losing a parent or whatnot. So bouncing back from a football game is very possible. And we will do that, and we will get back to work this week, and we will turn the tide because we believe in each other and we love each other. And I think that outweighs any X and O's that you can script up. When you really care for the guy next to you and you really have a purpose for why you play, all the other stuff kind of goes out the window, in my opinion.
Give me your assessment of the young offensive lineman. Give me a little coaching type view of what they're doing individually.
Yeah, so we'll start with Xavier Bosley. He's going to be a great player here. He transferred up from a smaller school. He's gotten really stronger throughout the offseason to really allow him to play. I've seen, I'm sure you guys have seen, he's came in on some personnels where he's blocking down at tight end. He's doing way better job with throwing his hands in pass pro. Sully Weedman, arguably one of the most improved players in the program, if you ask me. From spring to now, he made a tremendous jump. I don't know what Coach Moore said to him, but it's working. He's doing a great job. He's a big body. He's twitchy. He loves the game. Has heavy hands. When he hits you, he'll stone you. Just some fundamental things he'll clean up. I predict him to be a great player. Landing Livingston, he's played a lot, this season, more than maybe he expected. And every time he went in, he's done his job. He's someone who really cares. He really cares about what we think as an older guy. So he really tries to put in the extra work to kind of get himself prepared. He shows up early. He's one of the last to leave. Then you got Nick Cray, tremendous athlete, one of the most athletic people in our program. Basketball background, can move laterally, has good length. Just some fundamental things with his hands. But once he gets that underneath his belt, I can see him really road game people off the ball and getting a lot of movement. And then Johnny Williams, he's played a lot this year. Penn State, Kansas, Oklahoma State, and then just past Saturday, and he's done a great job. He reminds me of myself. Just the way his mannerism and just the way he's built. But all those guys love the game, and them being here and seeing the older offensive linemen, seeing the work that goes in and day out. A lot of people just see us, go to the man trip to the field and play, but they don't realize it's 11 and a half months of really tough attention to detail and really focus on your craft. And those young guys have met the expectations, if not surpassed it.
What's it boil down to Saturday? You got two teams that are disappointing records, not where they want to be. In your opinion, what does it come down to?
Man, who cares more and who's going to execute more? Back against the wall mentality. If you would have told me August 30th that we'd be in this position, You know, my jaw would have dropped, but it's reality, and that's where we're at. You know, and just fixing what we messed up last week, starting with myself, trickling down to the whole team, and really, who wants it more? This is the time of the year where, you know, some people can maybe stop doing the extra body maintenance, maybe not going to sleep as early. You know, the vision isn't as bright for them, and we have to really keep all that out and focus as if it's August 31st, Penn State on Fox. You know, focus as it's the backyard brawl, 6 o'clock in Pittsburgh. And if you can prepare like that for each game, and, you know, effort has never been an issue for us. You know, you guys turn on the tape, effort and strain, never an issue for us. We just got to execute, because when it matters, it matters.
Clay, going back to the pregame speech for a second, you've been doing that for a while now. Were you approached to do that? Was that something you wanted to do? Like, how did that come about?
Good question. I think it kind of came about last year, at the beginning of the season, where, you know, I was rotating a little, and I just really wanted to maximize my role on the team. And if I'm not mistaken, I think there was one game where I just didn't really like how our body language looked coming from the man trip, and I just kind of took it upon myself to just kind of talk to the guys. And then following that game, I think some of the guys like kind of called me up to kind of speak and kind of replicate it, and I think it just kind of became a thing. Nothing that I kind of looked at or really focused on. It's just something my teammates allowed me to do, and I appreciate them for that.
Were you a pregame speech guy in high school?
Pregame speech guy in high school. I was.
You were?
I was kind of always that guy. But it was kind of different. We had like chants. You know how high school football is. It was a little more scripted, a little less from the heart. So no chants here, just kind of talking real with my guys before we go to battle.
When you've lost a couple in a row at home, you mentioned the back against the wall. Is there any positive that can come from a potential, long road trip and getting away from home?
Yeah, absolutely. You kind of hit it on the head, just getting away. There's a little more distractions with home games than away games. You know, you're dealing with tickets. You know, you're in more of a comfortable environment. Me personally, I love playing at home, but away games, you just get a different feel. You know, I just love having 70,000 people against you, and it's you and your organization going to take on the whole state. I feel like it's a very cool feeling, and it doesn't allow no room for comfort. You know, you're at a hotel you've never seen before. You're in the stadium you've never seen before. We're going to be in a whole another climate. You know, it just gives you no room for comfort. You know, that back against the wall mentality, going to a away game, it kind of amplifies that, and it'll get us fired up. We'll be ready to go.
Did you watch the Steelers game last night?
I did.
You see Beanie go out there.
Mm-hmm.
But to guys like yourself or just guys who may or may not get drafted,
Right.
Who go through what Beanie went through, what does it mean to you when you see something like that from one of your own?
Yeah, it means a lot. I could just say, will over skill. That's kind of Beanie's mindset. Me and him, we got pretty close last year, and he was always told he was undersized, and he was always told what he couldn't do, and all he ever needed was a chance. And guys like Beanie, as you mentioned, is motivation to a lot of us, because and basically it just says that if you don't get drafted, if you get a chance, maximize your opportunity, and the sky's the limit. And Beanie kind of amplifies that. And as you saw, he picked off Aaron Rodgers twice. Not a whole lot of people in the world can say that. So I'm proud of him.
He might be one of the three.
Yeah, he might be one-on-one. I don't know.
This is not necessarily the focus on the offensive line, but offensively, you guys rank really high nationally in like 10-yard plays. But when it goes to like more explosive plays, it really drops. And what's the difference? What's missing where you can move the ball this far and it's this close to being this far? Like a 10-yard play to a 40-yard play or a touchdown even. Have you guys talked about that, seen things? Again, not offensive line necessarily, but it just seems weird that you could be so good at moving it a good distance, but not all the way.
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't think we've harped on that too much, so I can't really give you a particular answer. What I can say is, as an offensive line, we try to get their ball carrier on the free hitter, and we just try to make the job as easy as possible for them. Sometimes that doesn't happen, as we mentioned. Maybe we don't get up to the second level or whatnot, so we could do better in that aspect. But we have some of the best ball carriers in the country, so when they get those looks, we're expecting 10 or plus every time.
Okay, anything else for Jaquay? All right.
All right, thank you guys. Yep.